Real quick, today I am moving things around my room, so I'm going to do this video from my desk, and also if the walls look a little boring, it's because I took everything down because I'm putting new things up. But here, so this corner doesn't look so boring, I'll put the Batman poster here. And I'll even increase the size so you can look at Colin Farrell's sweet face the entire review. So the Batman is finally out, and this has got to be one of my most anticipated releases of the entire year. And this movie is directed by Matt Reeves, who you might know from his 2 Planet of the Apes films and Cloverfield. And I'm not the biggest fan of those movies, but when I saw the trailer for the Batman, it just looked very dark and gritty. And just judging alone from what he was able to do with the last Planet of the Apes film, this felt like something he was going to be able to pull off really well. And you know what? I feel like overall he did a great job with this movie. I got everything I wanted to out of it. It felt like a fresh, original take to Batman. And, I may not feel as strongly as those 10 out of 10 reviews that you see all over the place, but I really do feel like this is one of the best Batman films we've ever gotten. In my opinion, I would say that this is my second favorite Batman movie of all time, right behind The Dark Knight, which, I don't really want to compare these films together because they're both very different. They approach things very differently, but I still think they're both good films, so I really feel like it'd be no use in just pitting the two against each other. But yeah, the Batman film was pretty great this year, and I'll start off by saying some of the things that I really liked about the film. So I should probably start with Robert Pattinson as Batman. I know there was a lot of concerns of people not buying Pattinson as Batman because of his Edward role in Twilight, but in my opinion, I feel like he broke away from that mold a long time ago with films like Good Time, High Life, and Lighthouse. I personally loved the casting choice as soon as they announced it, and yeah, he was amazing in this role. He plays a very soft-spoken, very emo Batman. In the film, it's mentioned that he's been Batman for 2 years, so he's very young. The death of his parents are still fresh to him, so he's not a happy person in this film. And he's very amateur at being Batman too. The way he approaches situations is very headstrong, which forms some problems in of its own, but overall, I really like this version of Batman. But yeah, the performances across the board were amazing. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, Jeffrey Wright as Gordon, John Turturro as Falcone, Colin Farrell as Penguin, who is doing his best Tony Soprano impression.
Whoa, take it easy, sweetheart.
No, I'm kidding, but that makeup really is insane, and Colin Farrell gets lost in the role. I forgot it was even him a couple of times. But yeah, the standouts in this film were definitely Pattinson as Batman and Paul Dano as the Riddler. The only one I can say didn't really leave that much of an impression on me was Andy Serkis as Alfred. I mean, he wasn't in the film as much as I thought he would be in, but for what he was in, I thought it was a little so-so. Another thing I really liked about this film was its production design. I think this Batman film creates my favorite Gotham City ever. Gotham City looks incredible here. The way they light it, the way they shot it, it just makes it all look very dark and grimy and, just fucking real with crime. The film actually has this really great opening scene that showcases Gotham City and all the crimes that happen in it, and the fear the Batman imposes on all the criminals as soon as they see a symbol in the sky. I thought it was super awesome, and I fell in love with it as soon as I saw that. The score also plays a big role in bringing this film to life, and it is just fucking... The score is composed by Michael Giacchino, who you might recognize from one of the many films he's done, but I gotta say the Batman is probably his most exciting work. Just from this one scene alone where Batman chases Penguin across a freeway, the music that plays during that scene is... I wouldn't be surprised if he were to get another Oscar for this film because the music in this movie is amazing. One thing I think fans will really like about this Batman film is that it's very detective oriented. The way the Batman chases the Riddler throughout the film and is solving all of his puzzles and riddles was well written for the most part, but it is super engaging the whole time. But even if you're not into that slower pace, this film has plenty of action for you to just blindly enjoy. I will say though, if by any chance you haven't seen any of the trailers, you should probably stay away because I do think that they show a little too much, especially with the action scenes. I don't think I saw anything new in the film that wasn't in the trailers that would have made for a nice surprise. So, I mean, that is a very minor complaint, but stay away from the trailers if you haven't seen any of them. But the two complaints that I do have with the film that actually dock at some points are the third act and just some of the pacing issues throughout the film. So obviously this movie's 3 hours long, which, you know, if you don't have great pacing, then that runtime is really going to drag and be dreadful and slightly boring at times, which I definitely felt some of that in this movie, especially in the third act, which dragged on quite a bit, but I still felt like it had a solid enough ending. But yeah, I just feel like some of the scenes could have been cut a little bit more. But yeah, I think those are all my first impressions of the movie. I do recommend you guys go watch this in IMAX because it has incredible sound and it looks amazing. If I were to give the Batman a score right now, I would say it is a solid 8 out of 10 for now. It's a 3-hour movie, so there's a lot to process and pick up. You know, I feel like I'll have more solid feelings after I watch it a second time, which I already do have tickets for. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys for watching. If you guys saw the Batman, let me know what you guys thought of the film. I personally am not really a comic book guy, so if there was any comic inaccuracies or accuracies that you loved or hated about this film, I would definitely love to know about that. And yeah, that's going to wrap up my Batman review. Thank you guys for watching so much, and dog bless.